My name is Rick Young. This is another segment of What's in Your Hand. What's in Your Hand is a motivational program. We talk about success, achievement, reaching your goals, reaching your dreams, maximizing your life, having fun, and doing all these great things and helping one another. And today, my guest, I'm excited about my guest. He's passionate and inspiring and guiding millennials for success. Jason L. Marr is the founder, CEO, and chief mentor of 3EQ Inc., a premier life coach career, a premier life and career coaching, education, consulting, global business consulting firm, and is the author of Young Leaders 3.0, stories, insights, and tips for next generation achievers. Jason frequently speaks at leading high schools, universities, education and business events, and CEO summits in the World Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Marr, spelled M-A. Jason Marr, spelled M-A. Jason, how are you feeling?
Hey, doing great, man. Blessed and grateful in Northern California, in Silicon Valley. Good to see you again, Rick.
You know, it's amazing. You're from California, but you're brave enough to come to New York City and up to the studio, 6 o'clock in the morning. Man, you're a brave guy, man.
Hey,
it takes a lot of courage.
I love New York City. So I miss New York City. I hope folks there are doing okay given the global pandemic and the crisis. It's not fun for anyone. So right. I hope everyone's hanging in there.
Right. So I want to, before we really get into this whole thing that we're talking about, the amazing work that you're doing, I want to ask you this question. What does the word freedom mean to Jason Marr?
Freedom. Oh, man. Blessed and grateful. I think freedom from over anxiety and stress and any negative symptoms, negative emotions, right? So these days, given what I do, I joke with people that I stop working or taking on new clients when my 8 hours per night on average of sleep is going to be intruded, right? That's freedom. Freedom is also kind of unshackle yourself from prior kind of stress and worries, right? Because that's in the hearts and minds and physiology with a lot of people worldwide, right? Including New York City, also Silicon Valley. And I think the autonomy and the empowerment that I help deliver doing what I do in being the kind of a chief mentor of next gen leaders, Gen Z included, which is huge, in addition to millennials and Gen Xers. And that's just part of my kind of maybe a higher calling, is to kind of ultimately serve something that's much greater than all of us. And he's probably my biggest boss.
Why did you choose to work with young people?
Young people, especially in their early teens, teenagers and young adults, they are much less hardwired than middle age and up, and they're more malleable. So number one. Number two, the ones that are coachable and teachable, and that's smart. That's a very critical soft skill to have these days moving forward, because the world is so dynamic. The world is so turbulent. The world is ever changing. The world is constantly changing, right? So part of what you need to do is really, as a parent, as young people, is really groom yourself, your mindset and your skill set, as well as your, if you're still a student, academics and learning how to learn, adaptability. Being young is a great time to do all that, right? It's kind of like you got, let's just say that, just for conversation's sake, you got two choices, okay, maybe three options, right? Three is you got options. Two is a dilemma. One, you got no choice, right? Either you want to learn and improve yourself, okay? Or you keep griping, complaining, bitching. Like, what do you want to choose? You want to keep improving and keep learning and become a better and better human being, better student, better worker, better staff, better boss, better college applicant, right? Better intern. Don't you want that? That's part of freedom, is to kind of keep improving your own mindset and your skills with a clearer direction. Worry less about things you cannot control, right? Focus more on things that you could control. No matter where you're at, no matter background, no matter the cultures and all that. I'm very multicultural, as you can imagine, right? Kind of intergenerational. Does that make sense?
Yeah, now you just said something, because I heard Mark Cuban say this on TV on a video one day, and he said it's very important to learn how to learn. I just heard you say that. When he
Huge.
said that, that was like slap upside the head.
Yeah.
What do you mean by learning how to learn?
Okay. All right. Couple of the key core soft skills moving forward. I can assure you, right? Because I'm also part of the Future Work and Education Task Force for the Business 20, the B20, which is like the G20. The powerful 20 largest economies. Where the presidents, prime ministers, the governments, we get the attention. We're the global private sector or global business advisory council, the Future Work and Education Task Force. So I see a lot about how the world really works around the world, including America, right? And within the framework, within the set of policy recommendations that we just finished completing, and we're going to hand it off to the G20. So depending on COVID, I may not go to Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, which is hosting the G20 this year. Last year was Argentina. Last year was Japan. The year before was Argentina. Okay. Now, learning how to learn, learnability, that means being able to learn things quickly, where you're able to stay focused in learning and also producing, contributing, right? And that takes some good honing of your own mindset, your habits as well, right? Let's just say that you're a kid, also adults. I tell you, a lot of adults it's got so many bad habits, right? It's kind of like flipping around with Facebook, flipping around with Twitter, flipping around with Instagram, social media, email, phone calls, get all distracted, right? You're not able to focus on one thing that's important in front of you. And let's say that it's a project, it's an important task you need to get done. Something much more important than checking out some stupid political news, right? Which kind of affect your emotions. Okay?
Political news.
Right, exactly. And typically, the way, you're in the media, I work for Forbes, trust that you and I know how the media works, right? Sometimes it's kind of provocative headlines and get sponsors, and they're doing a job, but it gets kind of dark, right? So you don't want to be controlled by the forces out there, including addictive technologies baked into a lot of apps and stuff like that, right? Now, learning how to learn simply means the speed of learning something important and be able to apply what you learn quickly, right? Oftentimes, it's not like the old days, you knock on the door to door, you sell physical encyclopedia. Those days are far gone when Google appeared, correct? So now encyclopedia is like type in a keyword, a phrase, boom, Google gives you the answer for encyclopedia right away. So it's not so much the knowledge you have, like rote memorization. That is not a skill anymore, right? Like I hate to say it, like spelling bee is like rote memorization is like, okay, the world doesn't work like that anymore. But if in your personal operating system, in your mind, in your soul, in your physiology, I could explain more about how all those work later, then you have honed over time with guidance. Typically, people need to guide you. You can self-learn as well. There's tricks of the trade to that, where you pick things up quickly, and you're also adaptable. You're agile, okay? You're resourceful, and plus you learn how to be gritty, right? Meaning that you are persevering, you're determined, right? Grit, written by Angela Duckworth, the professor. I love that book. In fact, my younger daughter goes to the school, and she's great. It's one of my favorite books, right? There's a lot of core soft skills that anyone could learn, whether you're in Harlem, whether you're in Saudi Arabia, in Europe, in America, in Asia. Pick those up, as well as many other things that we could kind of touch on later on. Does it make sense?
What part of California are you in?
I'm in Silicon Valley. I'm blessed in the South Bay, in San Francisco Bay Area. And so it's not a cloud in the sky right now. It's kind of nice, but back to semi-lockdown because Mr. COVID is pretty mean. You know, it's like hitting us pretty bad too. So
this what I'm getting from this COVID thing, I mean, we could really squash this in no time, but people have behavior issues, and a lot of people still don't believe it. They think they don't think it's real.
right,
They think they don't believe it. They think it's something that
absolutely.
So,
When you look at some of the countries that have done a better job. Now, first of all, our DNA as a nation, a couple of hundred years ago, okay, we're kind of began kind of more Judeo-Christian, but more individualistic, right? Freedom and all that is different than some other nations out there. Okay, so I respect that. I'm American, right? Listen, we are Americans, right? But at the same time, there are bright side and there's dark side to being too free, too individualistic, right? And sometimes people don't listen, don't trust so much. And like in China, in Wuhan, right, when the thing popped late last year, actually it's kind of more like late last year, not early this year. You know, it's a dictatorship communist government, right? So when the big government, big boss of they dictate, they could do anything they want. It's like massive boom, that's it. You have to listen, right? Otherwise you're gonna be in big trouble, right? They have like 200 million video cameras in the whole nation watching you right now, right? We're not that type of nation. It's kind of like, screw you, I'm not gonna listen to you, blah, 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 right? So kind of like the standard deviation, the defiance is there's good defiance and there's stupid defiance. And I see a lot of stupidities for a lot of people right now. They don't listen, or they listen, they don't implement, walk around in places here, without a mask. There's good protests, bad protests, the looters, the criminals and all that, mask, no mask, people sitting in restaurants, mask, no mask. And many parts of Silicon Valley, they're being good boys and girls and women, men right now, which is good. But I see many people around the country, especially in some parts of the country, they are just not being smart at all. At the end of the day, in America, no one's going to be able to control you individually. You have to really wake up and stop and slow down the spread, right? It's like a set of nuclear bombs just went off a couple of months ago and still going off right now around the world. We have to take it very seriously.
What does it mean? Because I want to go back a little bit, because you said sometimes adults or people, they don't listen. If you're speaking to someone and you're telling them something, and before you finish saying what you're saying, they come in, they either making comments or they're coming in, they already know what you're saying. What exactly does that mean?
Right. I think oftentimes, there are good responses, and there are responses with room for improvement, right? Sometimes it's the level of the ego of a person speaking through him or her, right? And it would also be wise. I mean, I coach adults and also kids, how to really manage your own mindset, right? Don't let the ego get in the way too much. It's really not you. It's probably the devil working through you as a joke, right? As a bad joke. And but then again, when you think about that, is that people, America, I tell you, okay, Rick, I traveled close to 3 million miles in the past 4 or 5 decades, right? We're in our 50s, right? And I joke with people, even though I look like I just graduated high school, but I'm actually a tail end baby boomer. And I feel energetic. Americans are outliers. We are really outliers. And it's great. People loved it, but now it's sort of the dark side, the weaknesses in part of our culture that's sort of holding us back. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that, like, sometimes when I'm telling someone story and I start out one way, but I know where I want to go, and
Right.
they already assume where I'm going before I get there, so they interrupt the whole story.
Right.
And now it's on a whole different path. I never get a chance to say what I'm really trying to say, and then they're missing out because they're not going to hear what you would call the punchline, or where am I going with the story.
Right. I
find it interesting.
Yeah.
And I had a guy on recently who talked about, he wrote a book about listening. how important listening is. And a lot of people have issues with listening. They're not good listeners.
Right. And that segues, that's a beautiful segue to another set of core skills. It's effective empathy or effective compassion. Okay. Empathy is so hyper important in order to build a relationship, right? I'm a very relationship kind of guy, right? I'm a total type A alpha male, absolutely. But I'm also, I guess, a soft side. I'm a softie when it comes to relationships. Like with you, I see you as a friend, lifelong friend. That's how I am. I'm very relational. In business, of course, there's transactions, right? But I mean, listen, we're going to be, hopefully I'm going to live until 110 before I go. I hope to drop dead like Marlon Brando in Godfather, playing with my great-grandkids. That's a way to go, right? So, but before I go, I want to be happy, families together, no nuclear holocaust, no crazy things going on. That implies quite a bit that the world is good. And at the end of the day is before you go, you think about the relationship that you have with your kids, with the grandkids, with people that's important to you. You're a billionaire, right? But you die lonely. You die people hating you. Is it worth it? I'm not sure. I don't think it's worth it, right? So that compassion is, especially when we're talking with Zoom right now, right? And just as the Zoom founder and CEO, Eric Yuan, is a good friend of mine. I brought him in as an investor from my previous company. We're old friends. And he hasn't changed in terms of his own core values and principles. And that is delighting customers, delighting employees. Of course, don't hire the bad ones. If you hire bad ones, you fire them, right? But mostly great employees, great, kind of you're a happy customer because Zoom works, right? And to him, nothing beats employee and customer delight. He's a very compassionate, very genuine, empathetic kind of guy, despite his accent, right? And he's American. People love him. Wall Street loves him. The world loves him, right? It was like Zoom. That's it. We're not even talking about Skype anymore, right? Nothing else. So compassion, very important.
His timing was perfect.
Oh,
His timing was perfect.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Separate story. We don't want to go there. So
yeah, I remember my friend Herbert Harris first told me about Zoom. I was like, Zoom, I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
And then, it just kind of kept on going and going. And then this pandemic happened and it just exploded.
Yeah, yeah. And, hey, welcome to the audience here. Welcome to work from home, right? Welcome to work mobily. I define an office for the past 9 years since I founded 3EQ. Nothing's changed, right? Working from home, working in hotels, working in a quiet place, number one, with reliable internet and with Zoom. That's my office. That's it, right? No facility, no nothing. I don't have to worry about facilities, right? It's a very fluid motion. And the world was catching up finally, right? And separate story, of course, I kind of feel for the moms and the teachers of young kids. They are extra, stressed on average, right? Because now moms need to learn to be the parents, right? Especially the moms and the parents need to learn to be teachers. And a lot of them are not trained to learn to be teachers. And then the teachers are struggling to even how to take care of young kids, right? Middle school kids and younger, difficult. High school kids, iffy. Depends on how motivated, how dedicated, how disciplined they are. College kids, depends, a little bit better. Adult learners, online, no problem, right? But the elementary school kids and then the middle school kids, they need to have that in-room on a playground, the social, the teacher thing, right? It's like, what do they do? And over time, Americans going to lose an advantage because we're not getting the education that we need as a country for young kids, right? I coach a lot of high achievers, and even some of them are kind of stressed, right? They're not able to do certain things that they like. But imagine
you coach high achievers.
I coach high achievers all the time, right?
Okay.
So lots of high achievers, and that's my thing. But I also coach kids that may not be high achievers, but they're motivated to improve. I take them just as well, right? As long as they meet a couple of criteria and vice versa, then I take them on as my student, as my client family. But it's a difficult situation. So my empathy to lots and lots of families, right? There's not many people except for Zoom, maybe except for Slack. A few companies that are doing, not as well. but we have to thrive and survive and thrive and learn and improve.
What qualifies someone to be as a high achiever?
I would say, okay, let's kind of categorize that. How's that? Are you talking about high school or college kids or adults or?
Well, I mean, just in general, like for example, the guy that built this program that we're doing right now, he built a studio in a project,
Right.
a housing project.
Right.
Because they never had that before.
Right.
Would this guy be considered a high achiever?
Right. I think if he's able to produce something that's very meaningful, impactful, based on whatever resources he has, especially when he doesn't have a lot of resources. But if he has a lot of resources, like including money to begin with, then the expectation is even higher in terms of results, right? Yeah, absolutely, right? Kids in the inner cities, and if you know, I would love to see more and more kids, and there are nonprofits and other forces helping out, supporting them, where rather than get so shackled in the old past, free yourself mindset, kind of like what Morgan Freeman, one of my favorite actors, said. It's all in your mind. Don't BS, right? It's like, you know, when he got interviewed by Don Lemon, it's like, hey, you know, black, racist, racial. No, it's all in your mind, he said. I agree. It's all in your mind. You unshackle yourself. Just move on. Make a decision. Focus on things that really matter. Improve, network, connect, boom, get things done, right? Expect some people is going to say something that you don't like to hear. It is what it is. The world's like that. And
you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? You said that.
Yeah.
The guy that built this platform that we're using right now, not the Zoom guy, but the guy that put the studio in the project.
Right.
You said this guy's a high achiever.
Right.
When this show is over, I'm going to see him and collect some money from this guy. I didn't know the guy had. I didn't know he had resources, was loaded like that. I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me. Thanks for telling me. I'm excited now, man.
Very funny. He might be a billionaire. You never know, right?
Huh?
He might be a billionaire, just helping you out.
Oh, okay.
No, just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I'm interested in is certain people, they're attracted to this. Your title is success coach. And when I say
chief mentor, success coach, you know, college counselor, life coach, leadership coach, career coach. Yeah, sure.
Right. So does that mean you've done some studying in this thing called personal development?
Huge. My last 13 years out of my 36 years in the industry, right? I started out in technology, been in technology, tech biz, and co-founder, CEO, you know, senior executive for decades, right? But 13 years ago, since I discovered the power of the education industry, it was already a multi-trillion-dollar global industry. I jumped in entrepreneurial, co-founded my previous company, and I kept on building and learning. I kept on building the repertoire of college counseling, including college planning, applications and missions. But to me, I believe in life coaching because of personal coaching, personal growth is hyper important. It's very Tony Robbins, right? And Tony Robbins is one of the many dozens of teachers I've had. I pay big bucks to go to his programs over the past 2.5 decades, right? Since he was 29, I was 26 back then. I've been following him. And so I absorbed all of what I need to absorb and blended it into Jason Ma. I absorbed from many other teachers. We learn from each other. We kind of copy, model from each other, and then blend it into the Jason Ma style. So what I do is to help, you know, my client students achieve the greatest outcomes in the life stage. I say life stage because each different life stage, you got different key goals, vertical goals, right? Like in high school, for most high school kids and most families, it's about college admissions in most cases, right? Unless you're just struggling, then that's a different story. In most cases, once you're in college, then it's about your career positioning, your first job, internship, activity, academics, college life, right? Not to get all stressed out and over anxious. Once you're working, then it's about your career, business, personal success. Once you start a family, it's also about your family success, integrated, right? Like for me and you, in our mid-age, I'm sure that Rick, you're thinking about how do I achieve my next level business or career success, right? Personal success. And that's why I came up with this thing called the pragmatic, emotional, social, and leadership intelligence. I overstudy EQ. I know that inside out, but to me, it makes me yawn. It's getting so boring right now. I call it emotional, social, and leadership intelligence. I intentionally lift out the word social and leadership along emotional intelligence quotient because your emotions are an instant manifestation of your belief system, your self-talk, and your physiology, and it feeds back and affects your physiology too. Okay, so the worst emotion is suicide. The next worst is like depression. The next worst is worry, anxiety, right? And you got middle states, right? And then you got high performing state, peak state, God state, kind of, right? So these emotional and mental state of mind is part of my framework when I guide kids, right? So how do I help you hone your personal operating system, your mind and soul, and get you into habits where your physiology gets better and better? Because your body, mind, brain, the 100 billion neurons, the 80, 60 synaptic connections, and did you know that there's about 0.5 billion kind of neurons from here all the way to where the sun don't shine, right? That's why when people say the gut feel, people are not kidding. It's really a gut feel, right? Along with your intuition.
I heard that LeBron James,
Yeah.
LeBron James invests 1.5 million. I mean, I read it. He invests $1.5 million in his personal development, training, fitness, conditioning, chef, food, take care of his body,
Yeah.
his mind.
Yeah.
I heard you say you invest a lot of money in his personal growth.
Absolutely. Only 1.5 million for him.
Break that down.
Yeah.
Huh?
Only 1.5 million per year. It's not surprising at all. In fact, it could even be higher. Only for him, right?
Yeah.
He could afford it. But I tell you, the greatest, how do I say that? Okay, let's look at extreme examples. Extreme examples. You look at the Olympians. You look at the champion athletes, right? The champion XYZ. You could be certain that all of them's got the best coaches helping them, right? Not just one, maybe two. Okay. Otherwise, how the hell do you become a gold medalist? There's a difference, right? The gold medalists get 80% of the sponsorships coming home. The silver medalists get 20%. The bronze get zero, either work in a job or become poor, right? Number 4, 5, and so forth. They are Olympians. They are not getting paid, right? Come back with sponsorships. Now, in order to get there, it's very hard, right? Now, sports, high school, college sports, separate subject. I could talk about that as well. We probably don't want to spend too much time doing that. But personal development, if you are, say, Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Jewish, if you have a faith, that's a separate, you go even deeper. I could go into that if you like, okay? Because my family have a faith. But most of my clients and students, they're secular. I respect that. Then I guide them in a way that's comfortable for them, but embedded with very powerful stuff that uplift them subconsciously. Does it make sense to you? So that personal growth, that continuous learning, that's part of learnability. You have to keep on improving, right? Constant and never-ending growth, improvement, learning. Because if one, even at a B20 for the G20, the words lifelong learning, I've been pushing that. Some of my peers, including billionaires, we've been pushing that. It's a core skill that we are pushing through the governments and other parts of the private sector worldwide to uplift the whole world, you see, lifelong learning. And that could help convert some of the poorer neighborhoods, from criminals into productive, positive parts of society around the world.
Well, I know some people that would not spend $5 on personal growth, a book or something. There go guy investing 1.5 million. There go someone else that wouldn't invest $5.
That's called lack of wisdom, because they don't have the vision, right? They're probably too wrapped up, too constrained, shackled by their current, some of the limiting beliefs and a mindset. Okay, that they're not freeing themselves to be empowered with better learning, better improvement. Like for me, I spend between easily 15 to 20 hours per week on what I call applied research. And that is deep learning on a repertoire, on a spectrum of subjects that interest me, right? Including personal growth, college stuff, career stuff, geopolitics, global business, blah, 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 right? And I read a lot. I listen to audiobooks and podcasts quite a bit, right? And I learn quite a bit by talking to a variety of people, right? and very absorbent and really listen, ask a lot of great questions, right? So one of the greatest soft skills to pick up, and I spend a lot of time, not a lot of time, but I spend efficient time honing my students and some of my adult clients and kids on how to be a better question asker, you see. Sometimes I would say, don't judge a person by what they say, judge by what they ask, how they ask it, when they ask it, with whom they ask, the context, and are they congruent, right? Are they genuine? Are they authentic? Then that guy or that gal is very smart, is very wise. So if one doesn't want to learn, one doesn't want to improve, I don't care if you're black, white, brown, purple, yellow, man, that's not good. You're a friend of mine, I'll be very frank with you. I'm going to try to inspire you to start improving and learning because I care about you, you see. You got to learn, got to keep on improving.
Well, I know you have been working with your daughter. How is she doing now? Are you still working with her? How is she doing now?
I'm so blessed, Rick. My daughters are 23 and 20. I got two Gen Z daughters. That's probably one reason I look so young, right?
Gen Z, I thought your daughter was a millennial.
No. I think, you know, I don't want to overgeneralize, and because I don't like to kind of do the speaking generalization, but just for conversation's sake, right? Millennials are probably around 25 years old to 39 years old. Gen Z is probably 24 and younger, and age 11 to 24. That's about 1.8 billion Gen Z worldwide, by the way. The world's got 7.8 billion population, right? Lots of them, of course, in Africa, in India, in Indonesia, etc. The US got quite a bit of Gen Z as well, right? So 1/4 of the US population is Gen Z. My daughters are technically Gen Z still. One is 23, and very blessed. She works at Google as a software engineer. Just finished second year, got a couple of small little promotions, and she's on to a startup within Google. And she was like hustling, like stressed sometimes, like it really works like a startup within the startup in Google. But they are very, very blessed. They're doing quite well. And she learned, and learnability, okay, good example. And when she went to Georgetown, okay, she did not major in computer science. Okay, you know, computer science is not easy to learn, right? She pivoted from business and liberal arts in her freshman, sophomore year because she got bit by the Silicon Valley bug, right? Technology, because I've been encouraging her. And she made a decision, Dad, I'm gonna pivot, boom, 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 right? So she hustled and even beat out a grad student, got some for pay research internship. One thing led to another, then changed a major. She was initially at a business school, thought about going to the Foreign School of Services, and then kind of just ended up at the college taking a BA in computer science. As learned internship, professors loved her. Even Cal Newport, the famous author, he was one of the CS professors. He's a great guy. And she learned, right? Internship, one thing after another, got an internship with Google and then got hired. And then the rest is history. And she learned super fast, right? And I mean, was she like that? I'm not sure when I was young, but it's all honeable. My younger daughter, my 20-year-old, she is a rising junior at Wharton, very blessed. And she's working full-time at Slack, right? And learns super fast. You know, is Dad or my girls smart, high IQ? No, not at all. I guarantee you, I don't have high IQ. Okay, I guarantee you. I don't even compare to a lot of the scientists and the engineers in Silicon Valley, right? But I got probably relatively better wisdom, but I know how to navigate and help people to navigate. But probably smart enough. I don't have to be super smart. But part of smart, how I define smart, Rick, is not high IQ, high intellect, right? You got a lot of high IQ, a lot of intellect as professors in universities and colleges. Would you agree? But do all of them have high wisdom? Not at all. A lot of them, even in elite schools, I tell you, I lecture at some of them, with some of them, right? And they're great people, super high IQ, great researchers and all that. But when it comes to the real world, how the real world really works in business, it's kind of like, man, I could coach you, right? Some other critical thinking, communication, etc. Different things.
I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
First one is, I hear you mention this word wisdom a few times.
Right.
What does wisdom mean to you?
Wisdom is the ability to make the right decisions, discern between right and wrong, and have enough good and bad experiences kind of like your machine, like machine learning, right? So I'm giving the audience some Silicon Valley speak, right? AI, ML, machine learning, right? The algorithm is very important in your machine, but the data is most important. You have to acquire a lot of data, good data, structured data, and these are called experiences, right? Young people, even kids who go to Harvard, right, go to Columbia, right next door to you. A lot of them don't have wisdom yet, right? Now they might have wisdom relative to the age, but that's why they come out, the first job they work for, they could even work for someone who didn't go to an elite school, because a boss in her 30s, 40s, even late 20s performed, right? Build great connections, build better wisdom. They know how the world works, they know how the company works, they make better decisions, they can see the big picture more, blah, 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 right? They know how to motivate, at least the good ones, right? So the ability for real world critical thinking, decision making, discerning right and wrong, and really kind of be able to see farther ahead in addition to the present. You got to be very present, but a bit more visionary, more missionary, and you're able to inspire and guide and maybe do some mentoring is secret sauce, right? It's very, very important. Would you agree? I mean, it comes with experience, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now the second question. I think most of the problems that we have as the world, communities, countries, cities, communities, families, the breakdown is, to me, communication.
Yeah.
I think people don't learn how to communicate properly.
Mm.
Can you speak to that? Communication?
Oh, huge. I could easily tell you within my sort of the soft skills part of my mentorship framework, right? Communication is one of the 4 cornerstones, right? The other cornerstones, and really it took me 13 years at home, right? Today I could do it kind of like with my eyes closed, right? Depending on the kid or the student or the client, I kind of help them improve parts of the soft skill set that they need to improve on if they want to rise up faster than the driven peers, okay? And be happy, right? So communication includes your self-talk, right? Your thoughts, your one-on-one Socratic conversation, right? I teach kids, include my daughters, on how to become a better and better conversationalist, right? A better listener. Now, listening doesn't mean that all you did is sit there like a piece of wood and listen. That doesn't mean you have to be active, right? Ask questions, efficient, and you got to be authentic, genuine, not like rehearse like a piece of, you know what I'm saying? And then public speaking is very important, right? My daughters, my younger daughter, oh my God, she's only 4'11", looks like she's still, don't tell her that, but she looks like she's still middle school, but she's actually 20 years old. She's short, right? But when you talk to her, she looks real super young, years younger than she is, man. And when she speaks, man, that's damn girl, you could communicate, right? And she knows how to read too, you see? Then so and kind of one-on-one group speak, public speaking, right? The eye contact, facial expression, the body. I mean, when I speak, I'm a professional speaker. I became one, right? I used to suck in speaking. Not that I'm great right now, but I'm represented by Harry Walker, executive All-American, London, etc. A bunch of speaker bureaus right now. And Harry Walker in New York City, they're like the number 1 in the world, right? And they got the Clintons and Obamas and the Republicans as well and all that, right? Communication. And I'm not perfect. I got flaws and sins, but I think I communicate a lot better than most people. It's really, if you want to rise up the ranks in corporate America, in family business, in a community or nonprofit, you gotta be a great communicator and a great leader. Those are the key skills that I hone into people all the time. It's not an overnight thing, it takes time. It's a honing process, right? It's like slow cooking, but accelerate the slow cooking. Communication, absolutely, man. I wish I could do a little bit more, even for the African American community. It saddens me to see a lot of young boys, especially, without dads. You know what I'm saying? And I know the matriarch is very powerful because we all got different subcultures, right? We are Americans here, but I came from I'm an immigrant Hong Kong Chinese guy, right? I still think Cantonese food is the best food, right? My mom, right? But at the same time, we are all Americans. I respect our heritage. Why don't we celebrate that? You see? Celebrate that, make use of that. I tell you, Rick, I tell you that I travel close to 3 million miles across Asia Pacific, Europe, Americas, and all that. And when you go to Japan, everyone's Japanese, right? It's like the companies are run by Japanese. There's no freaking Americans, rarely, right? You go to China, everyone's freaking Chinese, right? All the companies are run by Chinese. Okay, America, actually, we're doing pretty good, right? It's a very complex society. So you celebrate that. Don't bitch about it. Celebrate, recognize things are like that. It's kind of like your mindset, the belief system. Don't worry too much about blah, blah, blah. And I could assure you, I travel so much, I rarely at all remember any time where I had any problems with anyone from a racial standpoint. Because of how I treat people, I get treated back well, you see. Even though some of them might say something that appeared to be racist, but once you get to know them, communicate, it's like, man, we become friends. Then I understand where they came from is like that, but they don't really mean it that way, you see. Be more forgiving. Be more forgiving. Don't worry too much about yourself, but care more about, how you contribute while you keep improving yourself, right? It's called generosity, compassion. Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Listen, this thing, you know anything about basketball?
I love basketball. I tore my ACL skiing. I tore a lot of my ligaments jogging, and used to go to the hospital all the time when I was back in Berkeley playing hoops every single week, every single day, in fact, right? The hospital was across the street. The week after, the doctor goes, "Oh, you're back again, huh? Sprained ankle." I love basketball. I miss basketball. I cannot play basketball anymore.
When I say this to you, what becomes present? Be like water.
Be like what? Water?
Be like water. What becomes present for you when I say that?
Be like water. Like water.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
That's a very kind of a Chinese thing, right? Because water is very fluid. It's very adaptable. But it does depend on gravity. Make sense?
Oh my God.
Right? It's very fluid, right? And we depend on water. Without water, we're dead, right? And it's there's a lot of wisdom there.
You know who said that, right? You know who I heard say that?
I don't know.
You ever heard of this guy named you might not have heard of this guy before. He go by the name of Bruce Lee.
Of course. Yeah. Dude.
When you said Hong Kong, the first thing that came to my mind was Bruce.
Yeah.
How did this guy become, he had the whole package. He had everything. He had personality.
Yeah.
He had the training part.
Right.
He had the mental part.
Right.
He studied psychology.
Right.
The guy had the whole package.
Absolutely. Right.
How did this guy, and then he had this charisma thing.
Yeah.
He had charisma. He had style, finesse. How do you do that? He had the whole package.
Yeah, that's a great excuse me, I'm gonna blurb, right? So it's not polite to blurb in with a live audience in front of you. And first of all, Bruce Lee, he got Yip Man as his coach, mentor. He's got Yip Man as his mentor, right? Did you watch Yip Man the movie? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hold on, we'll say that again.
Yip Man.
No.
His coach, his mentor, his kung fu coach, mentor.
Yeah, no.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch it. It's great movie. Okay, so YIPMAN, Yip Man. Yip Man 4 came out, right? And number one, he was actually born, I think, either in San Francisco or Seattle, right? But kind of went to Hong Kong, lived there for quite a while, and speaks English with a thick Cantonese Chinese accent, right? I still have a bit of a tiny trace of a Cantonese accent, right? But I don't give a crap. Who cares? No one cares. And and then he's also a bit cocky, but in a lovable way, right? During that time in the late 60s and the 70s, imagine that in America was kind of like racist compared to now, right? But he doesn't give a hoop, you see. He's kind of like Jimi Hendrix, right? It's kind of like he was so charismatic, he produces, so original, right? So creative. He doesn't care that he speaks with a thick Cantonese silly accent. He just kind of do it in your face, cocky in a way that is lovable, that's inspiring. You see, is he worrying about himself too much? It's kind of like internal folks. Oh, I worry. Like, I'm a Chinese guy. Oh man, the white dudes in Hollywood's gonna look down. Oh, He doesn't care. He focused on getting shit done. Excuse my French here. Getting stuff done, achieving outcomes, making great movies, getting rich, and he did some bad things as well. I'm not going to go into that. And he died young, right? Which is unfortunate. There you go, right? So it goes back to freedom. He was not shackled in his mindset.
Quick story. Guy, a friend of mine passed away a few years ago. We were little.
Yeah.
And we had some homemade nunchucks, homemade.
Yeah.
And so there was this movie theater in Harlem where I lived at the time.
Yeah.
It was 75 cents to get in.
Yeah.
But the 75 cents, you could stay there all day. So people, pretty much made it like a hotel.
Yeah.
There were pimps, pushers, drug addicts, prostitutes, dope fiends, winos. Everybody you could think of was in this place. It's a place, the roaches, the rats. It's a place you didn't go in.
Yeah.
But one day, not one day, but they had a Bruce Lee triple feature.
Oh.
My friend, I looked at him. He looked at me when we found out. We knew that we were going.
Boom, you're gone.
We went. We took our homemade nunchucks and we went to see that 75 cent.
Yeah.
We went to see Bruce Lee, man, in that environment that we would never go in.
Yeah.
Check that out.
It's exciting. It's inspiring.
And we were little kids. We were little. We were young.
So inspiring, right? And you learn. You get inspired. You learn some finesse. You kind of study how he kind of does. Is like amazing. He's only 5'6". He's a short little guy, right? But when he concentrates and punches you, it's like holy crap, man. It's like deep, very deep and precise, right? And so lovable. That little kind of lovable cockiness at the same time.
Yeah.
I loved it, man. I watched his movies multiple times.
So back to the basketball now.
Yeah.
I need, on the basketball court, there's 5 players. 5 players. I need your motivational success starting 5. Your top 5, like these are the 5, your top motivators. Success.
Oh man. Okay. Good question. Now, because I'm in a Golden State, I'm biased, right? Okay.
What?
I'm in a Golden State, right? I'm a Golden State. I'm a Warriors fan, dude. Come on, I'm Bay Area.
They don't have to be basketball players. I'm talking about like motivators, like success. Like I'll tell you what, I'll give you my 5.
Tell me.
I usually let the guests give their 5 first, but I'm gonna give you my 5 so you know what I mean. My first is Napoleon Hill. Second, Jim Rome. Third, and not just in any order, Les Brown. Fourth, Bruce Lee. Fifth, have you ever heard of a guy named Reverend Ike?
No, now I have.
Oh, yeah. Reverend Ike would be my 5th. So now give me your 5 success motivational team. With this team right here, I'll take on the world. I'll challenge anybody with these 5 right here.
Wow, that's I never ever thought about that, by the way. Okay. Number one, many of my friends are secular atheists, right? But a lot of friends with faith as well. To be honest, I kind of it took me 57 years, but I'm a kind of a new baby Christian, if you will, right? So Jesus is the number 1 right now.
Whoa!
I never even said or think or even thought about that.
Wow.
Until this year. It's a mass. Hey, listen, tail end baby boomer. If I could, my mom, by the way, very good story for you. Okay, very motivational. She's 88. She's gonna be 89 this month. Okay, she converted, a lot of mainland Chinese immigrants into America, right? They're kind of like semi-atheist, semi-Buddhist, semi-whatever, Taoist, Confucianism is like, pray to idols. This like sometimes remember going to the temples, praying to the silly idols out there, right? But 6 years ago, I motivated the team. This guy drove her, even though I wasn't a Christian. I drove her to go to church because the outcome I was looking for is for her to get better peace with herself, right? Because she was not with peace. She's not at peace with herself, with her husband. I love my dad to death. And years later, she baptized, became a Christian. Stubborn 86-year-old immigrant mainland Chinese woman, which like there are like hundreds of millions. I mean, there's like a lot of people like that. They could convert. So this guy converted finally. My family's Christian, but they're aggressive liberal Christian. Also, we're kind of middle, right? Kind of in the middle somewhere. And so he's number one. Number two, yeah, I never thought about Bruce Lee. I think it's pretty inspirational. Sports figures. Oh my God.
They don't have to be sports. They don't have to be sports. They don't have to. It could be your top 5 people that.
I think Tony Robbins was one. Believe it or not, a rabbi is actually pretty motivational, inspirational to me. I'm not Jewish, but I kind of been following him for a long, long time, right? We know each other.
What's his name?
Daniel Lapin.
Daniel who?
Daniel Lapin.
Okay.
Yeah, Lapin. Now I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, right? We don't have to be, right? Especially Americans. Hey, you're in your face, right? I don't agree fully with everything he says. Just like you, right? You don't have to, but he has a lot of wisdom in terms of his viewpoints, and the way he talks is very eloquent. You could even listen to his podcast. You could even improve your speech by listening to people's podcasts and all. I do that all the time, right? My 15, 20 hours per week. Man, so many. I got a massive 150 books just in my phone, right? So many. I could not think about sports, little Cal, a whole bunch of them, even some professors, business people, so many. Elon Musk, right on top. Elon Musk, right? Jesus, Elon Musk, Tony Robbins, which is one of the, actually, I pretty much extracted the best parts from his teachings into Jason Ma. So I believe that I'm even better than him when it comes to coaching teenagers now. And a lot of business leaders all over.
So you got one more.
Elon Musk. I would say, man, Ronald Reagan. I like Reagan.
Ronald Reagan.
Dude, absolutely. Ronald Reagan.
Who is that?
Right. The guy is like, he's like, charming, kind of centrist, Reaganomics, and he knows how to communicate real well. I kind of miss him, so.
I think I would like Jasonomics better.
Jasonomics? Yeah, I hope so. Maybe next time I'll talk more about that. So.
Yeah. Wow. Listen, man, I want to thank you for being here today, man. It's been amazing, man. Thank you. I appreciate it all the way in California, Silicon Valley. I'm all the way in Harlem. We're making it happen, man.
Right.
Let's stay connected this time. Let's not, because you came all the way to the studio, man. That was awesome. Man. I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Came up to Harlem, to City College, to the radio station WHCR. I appreciate that.
You bet. It was good to pay a visit since I was in New York City anyway, and I was, it was first time to that part of a neck of the woods. So
yeah. And when you ever come back to New York, make sure you reach out to me.
Totally, absolutely. I miss New York City. I look forward to in due course, right? Go back again.
All right. Listen, thank you, man. I appreciate you, and continued success to you and your family, and stay healthy, of course.
Likewise, and may your family and friends and your audience be blessed. Live with gratitude, with some compassion, some forgiveness, and really go for it. Improve ourselves and make a difference.
One more thing. Now that I know that you're fit and shape, you work out.
Yes, I do.
York, one of the things we got to do. Hopefully, this show will be okay. We got to do some boxing, man.
Uh-oh.
We got to do some boxing, Jason.
Don't do it, Jason.
Yeah, show me how to box. I would love to learn after my shoulder
right.
heals.
See, you got more courage in this guy, man.
A little Rocky thing, man. Show me. I would love to do that.
Like the Lion or the Tin Man and Wizard of Oz, man. You got the heart, man.
Yeah.
Jason, thank you. I got to run, man. See you soon, man.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Send me the link to the recording so I can share with whomever.
Absolutely.
When it's done. When's it gonna be done? The link. Just curious.
I don't know. but soon I'll talk to my engineer. We're gonna get it done as soon as possible.
Who's the engineer's name? The other guy?
His name is Doug Frazier.
Doug, are you on now?
Yes.
Hey, Doug, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Welcome. My pleasure, man.
All right, man.
All right, see you later, man.
Okay, he's gonna, Rick's gonna hit you. Now he knows you're a billionaire, so you're in trouble now.
Woo! Oh,
Hey,
man.
I gave you a tip, man. I gave you a tip at first.
That's right.
All right, man.
I'll see you when you get here, man. New York. I'll be waiting. I'll be training, getting ready for you. All right, now.
Hey, Rick, now I don't know. Somebody might actually take you up on that box. Don't worry.
Worry?
You're a professional,
brother,
baby.
Brother, I was a professional fighter.
I hear you.
Worry.
I'm like your boy that just got off of there. I can't play anymore. I'm really annoyed by it.
So, if somebody told me they want to have a five, what do they call that? Five, not 5-2. When they go around the circle, what do they call that? 5-2.
That's around the world.
No, well, yeah. Somebody told me they want to go 1-on-1 with you. Would I worry?
You mean like a shooting drill? Like a shooting drill? You mean like a shooting drill?
Yeah.
I could do that.
Right. So
I can still do that, but that's not playing basketball. That's not playing the game. That's not playing basketball. Jason was right. That ain't playing. You can actually go. No, that's not playing. That's just a shooting drill. You have an advantage because you could actually go out there, and even if you're just showing the person how to throw punches, you can still have a little piece of being back out there. You can't, you can't do that in basketball, man. You're lucky like that. In boxing, you could do that. You can't do it. It's not the same. You know what I mean?
Hey, yo,
standing around shooting at the basket with the invisible man on you, there's no challenge in that.
Well, yo, check this out. Like my gym, they got like a little small court in there.
Mm-hmm.
Small court, right? So I got in the game. I haven't played in like years. I got on the court. I said I might have ran up about 2, maybe 3 times. I was like, yo, give me a sub, man. Get me a sub now. Get me out of this game now. You talking about 2 or 3 running back and forth. I was like, yo, I like all day.
Yeah, no, I'm laughing because I know what that's about. You can't do it. Yeah, you can't do it, man.
Where is the get me a sub over here quick, man? Come on, man. Get me back out of this game. I couldn't hear you, man.
Hey, look.
So anyway.
I'm just saying, listen, I've been around some guy, even when I was like in college in tippity top shape. I went one day and worked out with these 2 NFL guys. And, one of them lived, on 5th Avenue, and we went and worked out, and I did the same thing you did. Them dudes, they was like, the things they were doing was ridiculous, man. Just couldn't hang with them, man. Wow. And then they wanted to go to the gym and play full court, 1-on-1, full court.
Oh, man.
I said, man.
So we got to get back in shape, man.
No, the football. I'm just saying, football players. I'm gonna repeat. I've told you this before. I'm gonna say it again. Football, just because we're on tape, I want to lay it down. Football players and boxers are the toughest athletes out of the entire athlete community. Those are the 2 toughest men. So you're a bad man.
Yeah.
Because you was in the hurt business. You're a bad man. So
hey, listen, I got to call my friend Herbert Harris and let him know the bad news that he's no longer in my top 5 anymore. I changed it.
Took him out, huh?
I changed it today, man. My top 5, my success team, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, Jim Rohn, top motivational speaker, of course, Les Brown, Bruce Lee. Bruce.
Be like water.
Be Like Water is in my top 5. And then, of course, the one and only Reverend Ike.
Ooh, I don't want my pie in the sky when I die.
That's right. I want it now. I want it here and now. I don't want it in by and by. I want it now.
That's right.
Right now.
Yeah.
So that's my team right now. So I gotta let Herbert Harris know that he's out of the top 5. He might be a little upset about that. I don't know how he's gonna feel about that.
Hey Rick, is he still in the rotation?
Who? Herbert Harris?
Yes.
He was the first one.
No, you said he ain't in the starting five, but I'm saying he's still in the rotation. He's still getting in the game.
Well, I remember because I had Dr. Dennis Kimbrough and Willie Jolly on the bench.
So now he on there with them.
I say on the bench.
I understand.
You know this
now
is like a dream
look.
team. So
Rick. Go ahead.
This is the dream team. So even if they're on the bench, it's still a dream team.
There you go. Well, first, remember you had 5. Then you said I'm gonna go with 6. Then I heard 7. Now it looks like we don't got the 8 because Herbert Harris is on the team. We in the rotation. You ain't cutting Herbert Harris. I know that.
Okay.
I know that. So I ain't even going there. You ain't getting cut.
Well then, okay. Well, he's
in the rotation. He in the rotation, baby.
He's gonna be on the bench.
Hey, dig this. There was a lot of people who was on the bench who was on the dream team. Nobody says to them, "Oh, you wasn't on the dream team." They was on the dream team, bro. Nobody say, "Oh, you was on the dream team, Larry Bird, and you was on the bench." They didn't say. They said, "Larry Bird, you was on the dream team."
So check it out. I just came up with that name like tonight for my success team, dream team.
All right. Oh, you came up with that? You made that up?
Tonight. No, I didn't make it up. I mean tonight.
You're just using that. Huh? You're using it.
I'm gonna call it the dream team now. So
you're allowed, man.
When I explain it to them, they can understand what I mean.
All right. Well, I'm just saying this. Now today, this is number 8.
Yeah.
So, all right, what become present for you when you realize that you tapped off number 8 with a guy from Silicon Valley? What became present from you? Number 8.
This is something special, man. This is something special that
I'm saying. Look like you picking up your second win, bro. I could be wrong.
Well,
I don't see you waving your hand. Gonna get me out of here.
Wait a minute.
You can get me out of this 30 for 30. I don't see that.
The first 10 is nothing but jabs. All these is jabs. The first 10 is just jabs.
Okay. Well, I don't look at
11 on. Huh?
I don't look at it. I ain't no boxer. I'm looking at, you might come down the first 10 plays and see if anybody really ready to show up. That's how I would do it.
You said keep banging. So
yeah. But when I say keep banging, that means keep making sure they're getting it.
Okay. Well then
that's it. Whatever it is, give it to them.
That led me to the philosophy of the first 10 is just jabs.
Got it.
Because that's the key when you box and you establish a jab. Now you're in control of things. You get that jab under control. You go from there. Now the next, from 11 to 30.
No, wait. Don't go to 11:30 yet. Don't go to 11:30 yet.
11 to
20. Don't go there yet. Let's stay with
right
the
now.
first.
We just working jab.
Let's just work with the. Okay, let's work with the first 10. The first 10 you said never. Okay, now in the basketball equivalent, I would say what we're doing right now is we getting the ball up, we're bringing the ball up, and see who's ready to play.
Okay.
So we're gonna come down and we're gonna get the ball down. We're gonna get the ball to people the areas where we know they can score, and we're gonna see who came to play. Or like Shaq would say, what the others are ready to do.
Right.
And then now we both on the same page. One's basketball sport. Now what you gonna do when you go from 11 to 20? We scout report, baby. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll send you the link. I'll send you tonight. Who we got somebody scheduled for?
No, I don't need to know names. You said you jabbing 1 to 10. Now, what's gonna happen in the next quadrant?
Body shots. All body shots.
Okay.
Body shots. All body shots.
Nice. I like that.
All body shots.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't put myself in position with that jab. So now I'm close enough where I can start digging to the body.
Okay.
Banging to the body.
Okay. Now, on the basketball side, I would say the equivalent to that would be now we already know who came to play. And we're going to start playing with that person and seeing if that person came to kill. And if he didn't come to kill, then we might have to start unzipping out the weaponry. Not yet. But, there ain't time in basketball. There ain't time for the body shots yet because they might crack like an egg. Because in basketball, you never know when the other team is gonna crack. Sometimes people crack in the first quarter. Or in your case, maybe the first round, they just go right on down. They just go, I ain't here for all that. It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
See,
I've done it in the ring.
I know. I've seen it. I've been in the games like that. I've been on both sides of that. I've been on teams where we cracked in the first quarter. Well, not when we got not high level. Not when I got to the high level, but low on the way up. Learn your lessons on the way up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You got to learn your strategies and learn how you're gonna counter what people do. Because you got to counter sometimes. Because sometimes you might get out there and there's Aaron Pryor's up there in front of you. You got to counter something, man. You know what I mean? You got to figure something out.
Well, we hit Europe. Now we hitting the West Coast. Don't tell
nice.
me.
Nice. You was with the Island of Malta last night. We was with the Island of Malta last night. We was
right.
He was already halfway around the world from where we are. We should have asked him the time. What was the time difference? Because I know it's at least 5 hours.
No, they were 5 hours.
At least 5. Maybe it could have been more. I don't know.
No, 5 hours. 5.
It was 5. Okay.
Yeah.
So right, because he said he was right near Spain. So okay, he was in Europe, and then today you brought it back on around tonight, and you went with Silicon Valley.
West Coast.
Silicon Valley, baby.
That's it.
Okay. And now all right. So now they're getting their jabs. Okay. So tomorrow we be on number 9.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna, it's time now to get down with the Lakers. The Lakers are playing Denver right now, and it's the first quarter. I got my eyes on the Lakers because they have, I think they're having a little trouble because I ain't seeing Anthony Davis show up yet.
Oh, okay.
When you don't have, and when you have, when you're on a team where you got a lot of big dudes, you can't be in a position where you're coming from behind because them big dudes, they can't help you with that. You know what I mean? So if you play against a big team, the first thing you want to do is try to get ahead of them because they're gonna have a hard time coming back because they like to play slow, and you got to play fast when you want to come back.
Well, they beat the Clippers today, right?
No, the Lakers is playing Denver right now.
Oh, okay. Because I just saw a clip earlier. They was playing the Clippers.
The Clippers and the Lakers didn't play yet. I think the Clippers played last night.
Oh, so that's an old tape that they was showing.
They played last night. The Clippers played last night. They lost. They played somebody last night. They lost.
Okay.
Kawhi had 39.
Okay. Before we came on, I had on ESPN. I guess they were showing an old game with the.
No, they was probably showing the games from last night.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense. You watch on the ESPN today, they show you what happened last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Until the first game today was until like maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. Something like that. And the Suns played somebody, they beat them. So the Suns is like 6-0.
What?
They 6-0 in the bubble.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Suns are 6-0. And there was a guy on there who didn't kneel. I don't know if you noticed. There was one brother that played for Orlando, and he was the only guy that didn't kneel. And he went out in the game and tore his ACL.
Wow.
And people was like getting on him, and they was on social media getting on him saying, that was God doing that to him, and there was other people yelling at the people for doing it. But I'm just saying, he did it for religious purposes, by the way. He said he was a man of God, and God gonna take care of everything. That's why he ain't got to kneel. Black dude. He went right on down. Hey, Rick, he went out there, he went right down.
Wow.
Yeah, he went down and carried him out. Carried him out, man. Oh, you always remember when there's some games when somebody get carried out.
Wow.
Yeah. That's your worst nightmare. You playing in the game, next thing you know, here comes 911 and you going in the ambulance. And the team is going to the next game and you're not going with them.
That's deep.
You know what I mean, Rick? You're gonna be going to some emergency room in some town, and they go into the next town, and they don't care about you because you hurt. You can't help them.
Yeah. Well, the next thing for him is surgery.
For well, you get 10 days. You get 10 days before you have to have it because they gotta wait for the swelling to go down and all that other shit. Take
Right.
12 MRIs.
Right?
Huh?
There's no avoiding that, huh?
No what?
No avoiding that surgery.
Well, I mean, you could, if you tear your ACL, I mean, I guess you could, you could. There was a guy that played for San Antonio that didn't have any ACLs. He played in the Big East and he got drafted. Big dude. For some reason he didn't last that long in the NBA, but so it happens. So I mean, it's not unusual to. I guess you could play and not repair your ACLs, but I don't think that's such a hot idea. Especially if you're running around and jumping like a nut. You're doing some crazy stuff in basketball with that stopping and going crap, or stepping on somebody's foot, or you jumping and coming down the wrong way. You really have to condition your body so you could, like a boxer, so you could take those kind of blows, those kind of falls. Because one thing about the basketball, you fall a lot. I mean, a whole lot, not like a little bit. I don't know if people know that. You're gonna be on that. Hey Rick, you're gonna be on that floor a lot. If you're a basketball player, you're gonna get to know that floor, baby.
So what if your name is D Wade?
I don't care what your name is. You're gonna be on that floor, man.
No,
only people you don't see getting knocked down is Shaq or somebody. You don't hear nobody knocking his big butt down. But I'm talking about all us regular mortal people. You're gonna be on that floor, bro.
I said D Wade because he was down there more than anybody. He was like he stayed on the floor.
Everybody, listen, hey Rick, everybody getting on that floor, bro. You gonna learn how to fall, man. We was working somewhere and I was on a ladder. I came off the ladder the wrong way, and instead of falling, I just ran backwards to catch my momentum, and then I just did a backflip and came up. And the guy was with me. He said, "Wow, I can't believe you did that." and he laughed. He started laughing because I've never made a sound. Because you be running. Because when you're playing basketball, you run backwards a lot, and sometimes you lose your footing, and you have to spin out of it. Fall down, and you learn how to tuck and spin. Because sometimes people knock you down. I got knocked down one time and broke my foot that way. Dude hit me so hard, I broke my foot.
Now you came off this ladder. How long ago was that?
Maybe like last year, 2 years ago.
What?
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, about 2 years ago. That was funny.
That's deep, man.
I missed the last step.
Huh?
I missed the last step of the ladder, but instead of like yelling, I just started running backwards as fast as I could.
That's deep, man.
Deep, and then I just fell. Then I just, fell back and rolled over and came on up. And then I looked at him. I said, "You see that?" He said, "Yeah, I saw that." I said, "Damn, you should have had a camera."
Because a lot of people would have been like splat out. Wouldn't have been pretty, man. No, it made me when we were in the truck talking, and he asked me about it. I told him the same thing I told you. He said, "Man, I can't believe you did that." He said, "You didn't even say a word." I said, when you're a basketball player, you fall a lot. He said, "You did." I said a whole lot. Yeah.
I said, sometimes you fall with not nobody doing anything to you. And so that's what that was.
Yeah.
It was like running backwards, and you go too fast for yourself or take the wrong kind of steps, and then you take yourself out. So you got to spin up and come up and act like nothing happened.
That was also a judo move too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But there's a lot of chopping people in sports. In basketball, you're gonna be, you're gonna have to go in there and karate chop some people, man. Yeah, you got to give them you got to hibachi, you got to karate chop some people because, those are some like in boxing. The boxers, they some mean men. Them guys you boxing, they were some mean men. They're trying to bust you in the face, man. So, in basketball, you have the same thing. The guys are really like evil people. They're like evil and mean.
Yeah.
Not like, evil and mean like, in the movies, but I mean, when they're on the court, people don't be out there playing around, man.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy hit Kareem. He hit Kareem. Bang. Kareem was like bent over like this. He bent over. He got up. He went to that guy like wham.
I'll tell you a good one. Robert Parrish beating the crap out of Bill Laimbeer.
Did they call a foul on that?
They didn't call it. I dig this. Wasn't no tech.
Wow. Wow.
They called a person. They called a personal foul on Parrish, and because it's Laimbeer, he had to act like it didn't hurt. He hit him in the face like 5 times. Rapid, bam, 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 bam.
If he did that today,
What?
he'd get fined, suspended,
What?
and
They might go outside and take his car from him. Tell him he can't drive no more. Suspend his license, man. If he hit somebody right now.
he couldn't get away with that now, boy.
I mean, like, when I watched these guys play today, I said, wow, if you took people like from the era that I played in, most of those guys couldn't be stopped. The guys from my era, if you put them in there where nobody could touch you, you couldn't stop these dudes, man, because most of them were all, I'll kill you. They're just brutal maniacs. You know what I mean?
I don't think Laimbeer will be able to play today because.
Well, yes, he would. Think about it, Rick. He was shooting them threes when there was no 3-point line. He was doing that. He was out there shooting them long jumpers from deep in the corner all the way out there in the center when no other center was doing it but him. Think about that.
Okay. Well, Draymond Green, he get away with a lot. I mean, I've seen him kick dudes in their private parts, and I've seen them do some stuff, man.
So
he do a lot.
All right, so what?
Draymond Green.
I've seen the Pistons do a lot to people too. So did you?
Today's Pistons?
No, the Pistons were who we just was talking about with Bill Laimbeer and all them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think Draymond Green is really a tough player. I don't see that because in my era, I think a guy like Draymond Green, maybe he could be a tough player, but if he act like the way he does now and he came my era, people would be giving it to him. You know what I mean? If you can punch a guy in the face, it's never gonna happen. Huh?
We doing kung fu basketball?
Well, if you can punch a guy in the face, ain't nothing gonna happen. Then you know what time it is for somebody who like to do a whole lot of talking. They're doing all that jaw jacking. Somebody's going. You can't do that to these. In my mind, you can't go. You can't be talking junk to people who can back their stuff up, bro. And so dudes from that era, they can back their shit up, man. It wasn't worried about. We were just talking about. You heard even Kareem, who doesn't look like a mild-mannered guy, he was turning on people and decking people. and you ain't even. That wasn't the first time he did it. What you talking about?
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference. I'm thinking, man, when in with regard to how people think, man, and the kind of players.